All right, so as we talked about with Kyle, the Raptors do face the Clippers in LA. This is going to be the first matchup between a Finals MVP and the team he left just a few months after. We've obviously had Finals MVP come back and play their old team, but no Finals MVP has left in free agency after he won the Finals. So this is the first time we've ever gotten this. Here's what Doc Rivers said about the excitement of the matchup.
It's going to be, fun to see the guys again and, just congratulate them and, be able to shake hands and compete. The guys, the journey, also the country, the city, it was amazing. And, it's just so much. You could keep going on and talking about it.
It's one of those leave good situations. It's not one of those leave awful situations, And let's be honest, in our league, it's usually the other way. He's got the benefit, a rare benefit of being able to leave in a happy state. That's rare. I don't know if has it happened? I don't know. If it has, it's rare.
Doc, a little more horse even than usual there. He says it was one of those leave good situations. Sinead, do you buy that it was a completely leave good situation?
I do think it was a leave good situation based on the fact that Toronto was thirsty. They were fiending for a championship, and they got one. And this was the first time they were in the NBA Finals, and they go 1-for-1. They'll take that versus not having anything at all. And I totally understand, it sort of spoke to my soul when Doc Rivers was saying this is so rare, because my personal experience leaving my team for work-related, issues, that was not easy. And it was not a leave good situation. So, yes, I wish I could have brought a championship to Connecticut and then bounced, and then maybe things would have been better. But in reality is, Kawhi did it, and he did something that had never been done. The fans are happy, the fans are grateful, and I think that's why they have peace with it.
Work-related issues, that's mine.
Balance.
I'm gonna start doing a bunch of things for work-related issues from now on. It's leave okay. How about that? Leave aight. Maybe not leave good.
I like that.
Leave aight. He left aight. On the one hand, what Chiney said is right, and particularly when you factor in, they knew they were taking a calculated risk.
Yes.
He wasn't a guy who would left them at the altar or whatever. They got him knowing he had 1 year left, knowing that
he never said, I'm going to make my home here. He never. Was very above board the whole year.
But he also brought it every night, unquestionably. There was no, he's half in or half out. He was all the way in. He delivered them the one thing that they'd never had. Remember, it's not just the organization and not just the fans, right? But the people who are actually working for the Raptors.
Yes.
We just talked about how Nick Nurse now can do things and say things. Why? Because I got one of these.
Yep.
There's a bunch of people in that organization now who have that credibility and that stamp of approval because of this man, Kawhi Leonard. So I think it's cordial, but obviously they would have loved for him to stay because they did everything under their power. There's nothing you can say Toronto did wrong.
Yeah.
They should have done this more, or they should have given him more of this. They did everything under their power, and ultimately it wasn't enough.
I think that middle ground is probably the most accurate, right? A leave aight situation, leave okay.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone, and you heard Kyle being very gracious there in the interview. I think they all sort of want the best for Kawhi. They're all friendly. They all still talk occasionally, that kind of thing. But there was some animus in the Board of Governors meetings in July.
Yes, there was.
And that a lot of the tampering sort of investigations and things that went on after that and spurred new rules coming into place at the beginning of this season. Some of it was about all those contracts that got signed mysteriously at 6 p.m. on Sunday evening, but some of it was related to, hey, what have you done with our player throughout the season before?
Right.
Did you, I don't know, show up at a bunch of basketball games, college basketball style?
I didn't know you weren't allowed to do that.
Right. I mean, there was reports of a lot of, we weren't all in the room, but there was reports of a lot of frustration there, even though publicly the Raptors organization was very gracious, even in that month.
I would say when you're talking about the conversations at that level, you're talking about people who maybe don't have the same perspective as people lower down in the organization. So people who are working, whether you're a front office person or a coach or a trainer, you know the deal. You know how this league works. You know that this is probably the best possible outcome of how someone could leave. When you're higher up and you're used to things happening your way because I've got a lot of money. What do you mean he won't stay? I'm giving him all the money. That makes it a little harder to swallow.
But also bringing it full circle, it's really interesting because this time last year, a lot of people saw Kawhi as the villain for fighting for his health, pushing his way out, and he completely changed that narrative. So much so that we're discussing load management and how much we want to see him.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For highlights and analysis, check out the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, check out ESPN+.